Hi, everybody. We're having a few technical difficulties. Good evening, everyone. Y'all give me some thumbs up if you can hear me. Having a few technical issues, but we will start momentarily. Thank you for your patience. Give me some thumbs up. Let me know that you hear me. If you can hear me, give me some thumbs up, please. If you can hear me, give me some thumbs up, please. If you can hear me, give me some thumbs up. Now, you can't hear me? Kathy, you can hear me?
Yo, JJ, let's go. Come on in to the living room. Yeah, we welcome you to the living room. Yeah, come on in to the living room. Your boy Rob on the vocals. Let's go. Come on in to the living. Yeah, come on in. Thought-provoking conversations that transforms life. Come on in to the living room. We welcome you home to the living room. Pastor Dre, it's your hands.
Welcome to the living room. Everybody has some technical difficulties, but I think we got them under control. Y'all let me know if you can hear me okay. Got a special guest tonight, and wouldn't you know it, that's when everything went haywire. I couldn't get my sound together, but we did it. So we're live and on the air. Go ahead and share. Let somebody know that we're on. Got some, like I said, a special guest tonight that's going to be sharing some insight about homeschooling. And we know that now, everybody is kind of in this frantic panic with homeschooling. We're homeschooling as well, or virtual learning. But to me, it's homeschooling. So go ahead and tag somebody if you know that this is something that will be beneficial to them. This young lady, she's actually a member of my church. Praise God for that. And we're so excited to have her. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her on, and we're going to start our conversation. So y'all go ahead and let somebody know that you're tuned into the living room, where we have thought-provoking conversation that's sure to change your life. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Ms. Kathy. How are you doing?
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now. We're good. We're good. All right. Can everybody hear okay? Y'all don't know what's going on with the airwaves. It's kind of, it did something else. We good? All right. I think you lost you again or something. Okay. I think we hear you okay now. All right. So, Kathy, how are you?
You?
We got a latency. Our stuff, our equipment here. But we're gonna try to work with this anyway. If it gets too bad, then I'm gonna have to bring you back in because I want it to be done right. We're not gonna do you like that. All right. So this is Kathy Scott, and we're so glad to have her here tonight, who's going to be sharing with us concerning the ups and downs, the in and out of homeschool. So go ahead, you guys, and tag somebody, let them know that we're on as we get into this conversation, because it's going to be some tips. I'm telling you, you're going to want to hear some of this stuff. And kind of put your mind at ease with what we're going through. So go ahead and tag somebody to let me know. So Kathy, how was your day today? How was your day today?
Hey, we did school, we had lunch, and we played around for the afternoon. So, but it was a good day.
Yeah, it's kind of, we just started this, but you've been doing this for a while. We just started, and it was like a crazy day for us, just getting acclimated to that. So we're going to dive right into the questions, if that's okay. What kind of prompted you to start with the whole homeschooling? Because I know before your kids were in private school, I believe, and then you kind of transitioned. So tell us kind of that journey of what happened and what kind of prompted you to start homeschooling your kids.
Dreaded question as to why you decided to homeschool, because I always feel like I'm either going to like offend somebody or or people are looking for this big profound answer. But honestly, it's something that we've always kind of thought about. We have two kids. We have a 7-year-old. She's almost 8, so she's 2nd grade. And then we have a 3-year-old who's almost 4. And so she's doing pre-K this year because she's homeschooled, even though she's not old enough legally. She's going to be pre-K right now.
Right, getting that head start.
Yeah, her birthday's a month behind the cutoff, so she's preschool. But anyway, so my oldest daughter, she did K3 VPK in private school, and then she transitioned to a charter school for kindergarten. And then for her 1st grade year, that summer, we decided that she was in school, but it just wasn't really what we wanted for our family. It wasn't anything that I went to public school. I had a public school education, and it turned out great, but it's nothing against like the school system, but it's just something that we just kind of felt for our family that it would be a way to give her more of a one-on-one approach, because a lot of times when I would go and volunteer in the classroom, and it's not, the teachers have no control over this, but the classes, even with she was in a charter school, so her classes were small, but they still kind of missed that one-on-one interaction that, because she's working circles with 5 kids at a time. And if she didn't have, a second hand in that classroom, it's kind of hard, and I feel sometimes that some kids, because I was a quiet kid and I didn't cause any trouble, people assumed I was smart, and that put on me. Not that I, wanted extra attention, but people just kind of say, "Oh, she's okay," and they only focused on the kids that were giving them issues, more, or really stood out that they needed the help. So I kind of felt like, transitioning her to a homeschool environment, I would be able to give her that one-on-one, or 1 to 2 because she has a sibling, but that more direct education.
And those you bring out valid points, because we thought about it seriously, like you said, not just to better get a handle on things in the society that are coming up with kids. But when we thought about the work involved, we was like, no, we're not doing that. But you started, and it's going pretty good, because you have a number of things going on. You're a Chalk Couture. Is it representative? I think it is, you call it. Or yeah, you do a lot. You got a lot of things going on. So let's talk about and guys, if you all have questions, y'all don't forget to drop the questions, because I'll do my best to put them up as we go along in the conversation. If you want to know something, tonight is the night to go ahead. This is your piece. This is your piece to go ahead and put those questions for somebody that's been doing this for a while with kids, and working out. Is kind of like she's the forerunner to help us work out these kinks. So Kathy, tell us when you did the homeschooling, and how were you able to select your curriculum? What kind of insight did you have with curriculum? Did you kind of seek out something, or did you kind of know about it your own self?
That was kind of my biggest deterrent too, as to why we didn't do it initially, is because I was like, how am I going to come up with, a curriculum? I took one education class in college just because I needed a credit, but I wasn't, I wasn't a teacher. I didn't study lesson plans, or how to create lesson plans, or, what kids need at certain ages. So I didn't know. So what I did, which I'm very thankful for. So we're in our second full year of homeschooling. So we started last year. before all the pandemic stuff started. We had already started doing homeschool. So what I did is I just went to Florida Virtual School. And she did all 4 of her core classes as well as Spanish, because she was already taking Spanish in kindergarten. Mm-hmm. So we did those 4 core classes through Florida Virtual School. And that is a free curriculum that's offered to homeschool students. That's something that I was very thankful for, because I didn't know what to teach. I didn't know how to build a curriculum. So basically our first year of homeschool, it was a learning kind of time, because we learned what we liked, what we didn't like. But again, now she is registered as an official homeschool student, which means she does not have to adhere to any of the attendance. She doesn't have to adhere to any of the vaccines or anything. Wow. She doesn't have to adhere to any of the testing. So no, I don't think kids even do FCAT anymore. I'm sorry, I'm so old.
I definitely don't know.
Yeah, so so none of those like standardized testing to pop up her grade level. She doesn't have to do any of that. So what Florida Virtual School does, Florida Virtual School has 2 different programs. They have a program that is connected to the Orange County school system or the Florida school system. So if you are, say if you're an Orange County student or a Lake County student, you can take classes alongside of your normal classes through Florida Virtual School. They also offer an opportunity for homeschooled students to take courses, however many courses they want. I think it's actually about 6 courses at a time through Florida Virtual School for free. And you're being able to have a certified teacher, child. There's certain days of the week that you can log in for virtual classes, but there's a digital curriculum that you're able to have. You can log on. Everything's done for you. It sets a pace for you. But as a homeschool student, you can say, okay, I want to take math and science, and then we're going to do something else. But I think that was a good start for me, at least, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And it gave me time to really learn what we wanted, what we didn't want. The only downfall I would say is if you're deciding to homeschool your child because you don't like public school curriculum, you don't want to use that option, because using Florida Virtual School or any of those virtual, I think there's like a Connections Academy or like K-12. There's some other there's some other ones that you can also do that offer free curriculum as well. Those are still going to be your typical public school curriculums. So if you are wanting to homeschool for reasons because you don't like Common Core or you don't like or taught, if you want to include a biblical teaching, those things are not going to be included in that, because it's still basically kind of like public school, but taught at home. But it's a great start to learn what you want to do. And that's what worked for us, because we learned everything that we wanted to do, what we didn't want to do. And now we're able to kind of transition and it gave me time to kind of, to research and learn about different methods of homeschooling, different curriculums and that kind of thing.
So what about, and this is a question that I had, I know because we don't know where the pandemic going with the kids and all that kind of stuff. So it's something I'm pretty sure a lot of people on the thread, if not, you're probably exploring the option. And that's why I wanted Kathy to come on and talk about some of these things, just to give us like an inside scoop. But what do you have set up, for example? Like, I'm not good in math at all. Elementary math, and some of the stuff like they bring home from school. I'm like, what? Where? We didn't do that till we were in 8th grade, I believe. But no, I don't know. But is there something with the homeschooling environment, as well as virtual, that can aid the parent, as they go along, like with different subject matters? Like we might not, a lot of the stuff is kind of different now. I don't know about anybody else. If you all feel that way, or you have explored things with kids, y'all give me some comments in the thread and just let me know. But I would say a lot of things are like really different now. Could kind of help us navigate us through that. Like, are there opportunities or references that we can take advantage of to help us in those areas?
So like I said, last year she did her core 4 classes, so her ELA, science, math, history, social studies through Florida Virtual School. This year, the only courses that she's taking is math, because I am not a math person, but also that's kind of her that's an area that she needs extra help. So I like having that option of having another teacher, having a teacher. So even though I'm teaching her the lesson, she can have time to go on and have virtual meetings or set up a study session with that teacher. And maybe they can explain it differently than I'm explaining it to her. But if you decide not to use the Florida Virtual School, because again, it is Common Core or whatever they're calling it now. I think Florida Standard is what they've changed it to. But it's still, still Common Core math. But a lot of the curriculums are very open and closed. Like there's the curriculum that I'm using now for her language arts. It actually covers language arts, geography, art, kind of all mixed into one, but it's very open and closed. It's called The Good and the Beautiful. It is a biblically based curriculum. It's non-denominational. So, but it has Christian values and morals and that kind of stuff kind of intertwined in it, but it's very open and closed. So if it's something that you do not know, I did not know that there was 195 countries, but we learned that today.
So you don't have to be a genius.
No, you really can open it, read it. It tells you the answers. And as you get older and go, it has more explanation. And thank you that we live in a digital age that we can actually go on Google or whatever and just search it up. But I think a lot of the curriculum, so you don't, and I think that was one of my biggest fears, like, I don't know how to do this stuff. Like, how am I going to teach someone how to do something that I don't know how to do? But that's also the beauty in it, is that we're learning these things together. Like some things that I didn't know, we're learning it together. And that's just something that we can just share. And that's kind of what's also great about homeschool or virtual school, just kind of being with your kid, is that you kind of have those beautiful moments that you can have, with one another, and you're learning things and, oh, that's interesting, and you're kind of, but you're experiencing these things together. But the curriculum now, you can open up, it's there, answers are in the back of the book, or it's or it's right there, with under the question as you're reading out of it. But there's a lot of in just the internet, if you don't know it, type it in Google.
Right. And I think that's one of the things. I mean, that's really good for us. These things always tend to act up, but that's really good, because that's one of the reasons primarily I wanted you to come on here, because I know you've been doing it for a while, and a lot of people are apprehensive of that because of those reasons. I'm not a teacher, I can't do all that stuff. But you just shared some great information, some resources. Y'all come on, heart it up, give us some hearts if you're enjoying the conversation tonight. Got Kathy Scott on the line, who is homeschooling, been doing it for a while with her kids. So we're just talking about some of those questions and bursting some of those myths that we might have. I see a comment, and we're going to deal with this. I see your comment, guys, but I want to deal with that one at the end. So don't steal my thunder, brother. Love you, Rod. Thank you for tuning in, but we're going to deal with that one in a minute. So I want to talk about like the mental state of the kids and the parent. Like, was it very stressful? And I don't mean like learning the curriculum. I mean just the kids being at home all day. Because I mean, truthful, we send them to school. If we be honest, y'all, we enjoy that little break, that time away. If it's nothing but lay on the couch and, binge on some television shows. But they're with you all day. How do you mentally deal with that? What do you do for escape for you?
One of the reasons why I hesitated initially, because I was like, oh, once my youngest goes to school, I'll be free, all day long, and part of me feels bad, but then the other part is like, that's the honest truth. And like, you have to be honest with yourself, like, because we need our time. We need our time to ourselves. One way, which everyone is not necessarily able to do this, but for me personally, is I still work full time. I'm a flight attendant. So we do school Monday through Thursday, and Friday through Sunday, I'm off flying. I'm off at work. So they're home with daddy. And I'm off. So that gives me time, to myself to kind of lay and do whatever and do nothing. Honestly, I do nothing on my overnight, but watch Netflix. But that's not reality for most people. So
right.
But what I do in the day, because we had a day today, we got school done, but we had to have a good 30 minutes of a talking time to get people on track. Right. So today was one of those, and it is stressful. It's stressful. And to say that it's not, you're lying. Because there's going to be days, because you're dealing with personalities, you're dealing with moods, you're dealing with, just things that are going on around. But what I've done, and what I started doing even last year, I'm like, okay, mommy needs an hour, go in your room, play for an hour, and that's it. I mean, they're not going anywhere. They're in their home. They're not going to get hurt. They can play in their room for an hour, you know, while I either watch Netflix, scroll Facebook, do laundry, whatever it is that I want to do to myself. I just simply say, and I will come, you know, I will come get you when it's time to come out. So that's, or have, if you need 2 hours, then put a movie on and it's okay. It's okay to turn a movie on. So they're occupied with something else. But what I also like to do is just make sure that their playroom / schoolroom have and puzzles and toys and things that will keep them occupied. So they're not like, oh, what am I going to do? So they can be occupied. My kids are afraid of the outdoors. So, but if your kids like the outdoors, send them in the backyard for an hour while, you know, you're doing whatever you need to do. But you need that time to yourself because, you know, and then I'm lucky in a 2-parent household. So, I mean, in this current environment, my husband's working from home, but when he wasn't working from home, you know, after he, you know, come home and have dinner and stuff, they can then go with him and then I could do whatever else that I needed to do if I wanted some time or if I wanted to go to Target and walk around Target for, you know, for an hour by myself. So that's my woosah moment is is to walk around Target, grab me a Starbucks and walk Target. So yes, so it's nice if, you know, but some people, you don't have that other parent in the household or your schedules don't line up. Maybe the other person works in the evening and you're home in the day. So, you know, but again, it's okay to send your kids and let them play by themselves for an hour. They will be okay.
So you mentioned earlier, you said like their schedule is Monday through Thursday, and then Friday is pretty much because you're off, but they're out of school. So what's the time factor? Like what time they get up? Give us a day in your life from when they wake up. Like what is that like when you you know, do the school and the lessons and different things like that? Walk us through that. Like how does that look?
In a non-COVID world would be Monday through Wednesday. We actually do assignments. And then on Thursday, we usually do field trip, some type of outing, or we go to our homeschool co-op. And I'll talk more about co-ops in a little bit. But that's the kind of, basically it's other homeschoolers getting together. So we usually do it on Thursday.
Cool.
So so really we do schooling and lessons Monday through Wednesday. Any extra that we have or we didn't finish anything that I had planned out for the week, we'll do it on Thursday because that's our field trip day. We'll co-op or just kind of like, you know, go somewhere and do something, you know. But our day. So my girls wake up at 8 a.m. They eat from about 8 to 8:30. And then from 8:30 to 9 o'clock, they do their chores, which is putting up the dishes for my oldest. And my youngest wipes down the table and pushes in the chairs, you know, after breakfast. And then they brush their teeth, put clothes on. And at 9 o'clock, we go upstairs to our homeschool room. And then from there we start. So we basically go from maybe about 9 to 1, depending on a 9 to 12-ish, depending on the day. And how they're behaving, if they're moving along with stuff, if they're taking a long time to write their cursive, you know, that kind of thing. And then I rotate between the two because this year I'm teaching both of them. Both of them have curriculum that they're doing. For my 3-year-old, her curriculum is about, and it's not even that long, probably. It probably doesn't even take that long because her attention span is a lot shorter. She's not going to really sit there. But with her, we do her little, her workbook. We read her books. I keep, they're still, you know, our homeschool room is also their playroom. So she has her dollhouse in her kitchen. So she can still kind of do that stuff and come back in, listen in on some of the other lessons that we're doing. So she's still kind of there. But say for my oldest, so I kind of rotate between independent work for my oldest. So when I'm working with my youngest, my oldest Kennedy's doing her independent work, and then my youngest, if I'm working with the older girl, she's playing or doing something artsy and crafty. So we kind of work that. But our day basically goes from say about 9 to maybe about 1 o'clock.
Wow, now that's awesome because we this is our first week, and well, this is day 2, I think. And it's different, I must say. Now, we did homeschool when they first started with the pandemic, and they locked everybody down, and we did it. And I don't know what happened then. It was just really easy. I was the teacher, of course, and Valerie was the lunchroom lady. Who knew that? But we worked it out. But this time, what we're running into, it's a little longer. And like you said, your kids are done at 1. Well, they're still going to 3 o'clock because they have that regular, school time. And what do you do with, or do you see that, like when the kids starts, your kids start getting kind of tired, like midday or after lunch? Are they good, or how does that work? Or do you have any tips to kind of keep them up and moving?
After lunch, we're done, because I know my kids, and I got to get them first thing in the morning, because after that, they're done.
Right.
And I can even tell, like, towards the, now they're writing like this.
Yeah.
But what we do, we go on YouTube and we do, my kids are still young, so this works for younger kids.
Gotcha.
If you have older kids, I'm not quite sure, we're not there yet. But you can try to do freeze dance with your older kids, and if they want to freeze dance. But for my younger kids, we just go on YouTube and we put on, the Tootie Top song, or we put freeze dance, or we do just, just shake your sillies out, like things that'll get them up and moving. And okay, now it's time to come back. Or they'll get like a small little play break, and they'll go play with their Barbies on the Barbie house real quick. Right. Or we'll do snacks while we're working, so that they're still kind of, they're focusing, but they're doing other things.
Right, just a mental break.
Yeah, just to give them a break from just kind of like staring. I do know what we're doing for homeschool is different from what's going on with the virtual schools at home or the distance learning, because you are still stuck to that schedule of a standard school. Right. So with us, if my child is just like, if they're just done and we're halfway through, we could just say, okay, we're done for the day, because this isn't going to work. Unfortunately, if you are doing virtual learning and distance learning, you don't have that option. So that's not something you can do. But I from what I hear, they have put in like breaks, or like in the schedule, they're still adding some breaks. So even so, while your child's taking that break, put a wiggle song on, put something on that they can just take their mind off of that and just kind of be a kid again, and just take a mental break.
I want to jump in here and interrupt you for a second, because you said something that, so let's say they not with it that day and you go ahead and take that break. Is there some type of rubric or an assessment that they have in place? Like I know earlier you mentioned the virtual learning that they do periodically. Is there something in place or some type of measurement where they're on schedule with their grade or what they're supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? No.
I hesitate to say what. Okay. It depends on what you want for your child. So there, in the state of Florida, you don't have to take any type of standardized test. Now, there's some states that require homeschoolers to take some type of test to show where they are, right? It doesn't have to be shown to the kid. It's just so that the state knows that your child is doing something. Gotcha. For the state of Florida, all you have to do is have your portfolio or just your child's work evaluated at the end of the year by a certified teacher, which is basically the same way, you kind of keep the good things throughout the year that your kid brings home. You keep a few pages of their work throughout the year to show progression of what they've done. Gotcha. The evaluator looks at it. They're not saying, yes, they can move to the 3rd grade. Basically, all they're saying is that your child is doing work. Gotcha. Okay. As far as like keeping them on track, it's up to you. It depends on how you feel about that. I mean, joy of homeschooling too is a lot of that pressure that's put on kids, it's taken off, and you can just let them like kind of establish a joy for learning and like a want to learn, the same way that they did when they were like 1 and 2 years old. When they were just curious about the world and they were learning, then you. But again, if like there's some people who homeschool because they are like strict academics and they want their child to be the top of the top, And that's
Gotcha.
your own personal choice. So it just
Gotcha.
depends on where you are. Like I said, I noticed that I don't think that Kennedy is behind anyway in math,
Right.
but I know that it's the area that she does not feel as comfortable with.
Gotcha.
So I'm focusing more on that for her, because not because I want her to be, in second grade doing 8th grade math. It's more so because I want her to be in second grade doing what her second grade math is and understanding it, truthfully understanding it. So no, there's no real you have to know that you're in this grade or anything. It's just up to you. But there's ways though. You can go online. You can go on if you want to follow what a second grader should know. You can go on to the Florida school system, and they have the I can't remember what it's called, but they have the I can't think of the word. The not requirements, but basically what a second grader should learn. So what they teach in second grade, you can go on and find all that on there. So if you want to kind of make sure you're modeling that or making sure that your child's up to par, you can do it.
Kind of give you a little direction, not kind of just the standard, but give you a little direction what they should know by this time. I know, and I agree with you 100%, because like kids can learn anything at any age if we take the time. And I say that from experience. We ordered for Zachary and Zion, My Baby Can Read or something like that. Now it took us time, you know what I'm saying? Like breaking down and talking to them, because with the particular program, I don't know if anybody familiar with that on the line tonight. I see you guys questions. So after we do this, then we're going to jump into the questions. We got a lot of questions going on, so we're going to jump into those. But when I first got that particular curriculum, because it is a curriculum for babies, I was skeptical about it because it comes with Spanish and different things like that. But what got me, you start the baby at 3 months, you sit him in front of the television. I'm like, this baby can't even see anything. What are they going to, But it's amazing to me when you put the time in. I remember Zachary and Zion, we did it with both of them. Their eyes after a while would follow. I don't remember now if it's right to left or left to right, whichever way you're supposed to read, because I kind of read crisscross. But however it was, their little eyes would start following the things, And then I remember when Zion started reading words and not from memory, we were riding in the truck and he said Publix. And he was just reading the signs down the road, So much so that our kids read on a very high reading level now, but both of them, and I attribute it to My Baby Can Read. So just putting in the time, and that's what I just commend you and kudos, and hope some of that rub off on us. Just putting that time in and modeling and molding those kids for what they need to prepare them for the future, and not that pressure from the standardized testing and different things like that. And I didn't even know one of the big things when you said they don't have to do the whole vaccination thing, but that's a whole different story. But I'm going to go ahead and go into this question because everybody want to know. So we're going to go ahead and hit this one. This question comes from my brother. Rodney says this. I'm going to see if I'm going to put this up here, Kathy. I hope you can see it. Like I said, my stuff is doing some real crazy stuff tonight. Does homeschool hinder the ability to interact with other kids in situations? Now, this is if I've heard this, I've never homeschooled, but I've heard this so much with different, some people say it doesn't, some people say it do. So Kathy's been doing it for a while. Tell us, let us know. It doesn't, what are you seeing? What are you kind of gauge from it?
Weirdo children who sit in a corner, and I mean, my one kid does not like people, but that has nothing to do with it. She's better now, but that has nothing to do with homeschool. But guys, no, your kid, because you're not living in the middle of a farm with no technology. And, there's places like I said before, COVID, we used Thursdays, our science center was one of our field trips. My girls would go there, other kids would be there, and they just start talking and playing. And there's one area, if you've been to the science center, where you can do dress up and they dance in disco lights, behind the bubbles, behind that area back there. They just meet kids and they just start playing and making up stories. They're perfectly fine.
Right.
They are perfectly fine with interacting with kids. If you want to make sure that your kid is not, put them in, and you can do all these sports and stuff without having to be attached to a school. But you can also, as a homeschool student, participate in some school sports. Again, we're not quite there in age-wise, so I'm not fully knowledgeable about it. But I know that if a school offers, like say band, something that does not have a class being taught, your child can participate. So homeschool students can play football at their local school, or they can join marching band at their local school, because they don't have to. There's no class. So and I believe the other issue, I'm not sure though if you would be required to have certain vaccines as required by the school, because you are interacting with schools. So again, I'm not sure about that because we're not quite there yet, so I haven't looked into that. But I do know that homeschool kids can participate in sports, but there's also city leagues. There's church. My kids, their best friends are all from church. Even right now, things haven't changed for them because they're still on FaceTime and, Roblox and everything else with their kids, friends from church. Right. So it does not, it will only do it if that's what you set up for them. If you set them up to only be by themselves, then that's it. The same way if you were a public school kid and your parents never socialized you any other way. You just sat at your desk at school. You didn't talk to anyone when you came home. Your parents didn't kind of push you or nudge you to go out and interact with people. It would be the same thing.
And then when you think about it, I've given a lot of thought because I've heard people say this, but they only go to school for 9 to 2 or 3. And then after that, you have to come up with something else because, if that's a fear of people, it could still happen with them going to school. We have to, do something to keep them engaged. And the other thought that comes to mind is if you have a kid, like one of my sons, I won't call a name because they're probably watching and I don't want to create any type of insecurity, but one of them, they don't do a lot of people either. That's their personality. They like their daddy, but the interaction, they do it when they want to, but I don't think, like I said, I can't speak from because I have a homeschool, but I don't see where it would kind of stifle their mixing with kids or interaction or different thing like that, because if they're like that, they're going to be like that.
About co-ops, homeschool co-ops, basically they're groups of other homeschoolers. You get together, whatever your set time is, we do it once a week. And some of the parents will teach, like our co-op, we do sewing and cooking, and then we do PE together. There is also a science and a social studies class. If you want, we didn't do those two, but we did the other extras. And they were with other kids. So you're putting your child in situations where they're with other kids and interacting, with other kids. So no.
Right. Well said. Y'all come on, give us some hearts on here. If you're enjoying the conversation, we have Kathy Scott with us tonight, who's homeschooling, and she's giving us some insight. And we're bursting all the myths that you have heard about homeschooling, and it's something that you might want to explore. So I think this is a good segue to lead into the next question. Well, that's not the one I want. We're going to come back to that one, but Lakeisha, she put this one up here, and I think this is good. And then we'll come back to Rod's question. She said, what is the process if you needed to transition back to the classroom, to the traditional classroom setting? And I think that's an excellent question because somebody's thinking it, you all just not typing it. So we're going to answer it for you.
To transition, you're just going to be from the state of Florida, from what I understood. I haven't looked too much into it because I don't plan on transitioning back into public, into the school system. But they will put you back into the grade that you should be in.
Gotcha. Okay.
Actually, reading some things. Someone was asking about working their child ahead, and because you're homeschooled, you can put your kid in whatever grade you want, basically, as long as they're learning that age or class, grade. Lessons or curriculum, then they're in 3rd grade or whatever grade. But when you go back into the school system, they're going to put you into a grade you should be in. And I believe there might be a testing, especially if you're trying to go if you're trying to go a grade up, or if you're saying something like that. But the transition is whatever you need to, what the normal things to enroll in school. You're going to need your health records, transcripts. You as a school, we haven't thought of a school name for our school, but I keep saying Scott Academy, but my daughter doesn't like that. So Scott Academy has transcripts. So I will have her. So because she's the same way that you keep track of this stuff.
Gotcha. Okay.
So she has that. She took these grades. She's taken, beginning Spanish, level 2, this is all there. So when she goes to transition back into, if she goes to transition back into public school or into school system, she still has those transcripts with her. Way you would just normally enroll your child, you do that, but
Gotcha.
you might have to do testing. That I'm not completely sure if there is
Right.
testing, but again, every year you do have an evaluation with a certified teacher, and that's to show that you are doing work. So you still have those evaluations evaluated by a certified teacher.
Gotcha. Well said. That only makes sense to me, that if you're going to transition back, we need to know what what you've done, because you're pretty studious at it, but maybe some people kind of just hung out and ate chips or whatever, and you don't know what the kid is able to process and different things of that nature. So, thank you for that. Let's go back to this other question. It comes from Rod, and he says, does she plan to homeschool to high school? Do you plan to do it through high school? And if so, will that affect college as far as administration and et cetera, et cetera?
And to homeschool her all the way to college. I plan for my daughter to go to college if it's her will. I would love her to go to college, but life is life, and that's her deal. But I read an article, and this made me so excited, and I wish I could put it out there, but I'm sure if you Google it, you can pull it up. Ivy League schools, like Yale, Ivy League schools, homeschool students, because they know homeschool students are independent thinkers. They probably have learned a lot more than what, school, because when you're in a traditional school, you're stifled as to how much you can learn within those walls, because there's politics of what you can teach and what you can't teach. But yes, colleges accept homeschool students, especially nowadays. It's so, guys, homeschool is it's oh, that's not normal, but it's normal. Like I said, we have transcripts. She's going to receive a diploma. My girls would receive a diploma from Scott Academy, or whatever we decide our school will be called by the time they graduate. We got some time. But yeah, so they will get a diploma signed by me from this school, and it is just as valid as graduating from Edgewater High School.
Wow. I have a friend of mine's, Yvette. I don't know if she's watching. I talked to her about coming on as well, because her son went through the whole homeschool program through high school, and she mentioned some of the things that you talked about, they partnered with, I don't want to get this wrong, but I know they partnered with him playing football with certain schools. They actually let him come in and do things of that nature. So it's collaborating with other people to, if you so choose to do those things, they don't miss out on anything, basically. Proms, all that kind of stuff, or have your own, that's what I say, have your own prom. Then you got to worry about them going anywhere. They coming back home, that. If you are enjoying this, come on, give us some thumbs up. Let us know. Keep those questions coming. We have Kathy on here talking about homeschooling, and we are enjoying the conversation tonight. And this is to help kind of dispel some of the myths that we might have about homeschooling. And I decided to bring in an expert. And I call you an expert, Kathy, because you've been doing it for a while. So she can answer some of those questions that I can't, that even my wife and I have been exploring, because we thought about, even after the pandemic and COVID, we might consider continuing in it, So those were some of the questions that I had that we wanted to know. But with the hubs and the different resources that she talked about, it should be pretty good. So I want to ask you this. What would you say to someone, maybe it's on here, what would be the benefits, in your opinion, of homeschooling that they could take away with them? What are some of the benefits? Why would you promote? If you had to campaign for somebody to do homeschool, what would you tell us?
I just saw Rodney's comment about there's only one Edgewater.
Oh. Yeah, I just looked at that.
Class of 01, yes, okay. But yeah, so the benefits, something that I think is great is that you can do studies of what your child's interested in. So if you're like my child right now, she really enjoys, doing and stuff like that for YouTube. But, and yet like, oh, it's YouTube and YouTube videos. But guess what? She's learning, and we may go into coding. We may learn how to do writing code or something like that, depending on how far she wants to go into her knowledge. So a benefit is taking things that they really have an interest in and setting that as your so if your child is interested in something, they're more than likely going to pay attention to it, and they're going to kind of give more of their all into it, opposed to like learning about the Civil War, but maybe Civil War, or they may be into that kind, so I think a lot of that, and also learning. I have a family member who their children, go to public school, and when all of this kind of started and they were home, they kind of really got to see areas that their child was struggling in, that they had no idea, so being home, not, and their child wasn't a bad student or anything like that. It was just, you put your trust, and put your trust in teachers. And again, the teachers can only do so much. And I applaud every single teacher, because it's a hard job to teach. Like, so, but they do so much, and they have so many children and so much they can do. So sometimes some areas and some children might get kind of brushed under, not that they're purposely doing it, but there's areas that, that might not be seen. So when you're homeschooling, you have that one-on-one time. You can see what their interests are. You can, them on areas that need a little extra help. You can also work with them on areas that they're awesome in, because they're awesome. So you also want to celebrate the good things and not just the bad, not the bad, but the weak areas. So that's what I kind of enjoy. And that's what I think kind of bringing things home is that you can kind of get more of an understanding, and you just get to spend time with your child. Because if you think about it, from the time they are 5 until they're 18, they're, 8 hours or whatever, you're in school all day long. And they get, so, and if you work, so you're home at 5, you get from about 5 to 8, 9 o'clock at night with your child. So you get maybe 3 or 4 hours a day. And then Saturday, Sunday, if you go to church, that's a couple hours, so you're only getting, so you don't get a lot of time with your child. And I mean, granted, everybody's situation is different. And I don't want to ever make anyone feel like any kind of like guilt, especially like, mom guilt or anything, because they can't homeschool their children, because everyone's situation is different, and you just got to do what you got to do. And at the end of the day, you want whatever's the best for your child is for your child to learn. But if you're able to keep your kids home, and if you're able to do that, think about all the extra time you're going to get to spend with them, all the extra like bonding you can do with them, held by restraints of like, oh, we can't go to this place today because you got to go to school. Something as simple. My daughter had to have her tonsils removed, and then I got a notice, because even though I turned in a doctor's note, I got like, you're truant your kid was out of school for, so many days. And I'm like, she
are you kidding me?
Yeah. Like, beware, so that, if anything else, which they do need to keep track of that kind of stuff. But there's certain things that you just, that extra like force is kind of removed, and you really can just kind of enjoy the process with, parenting your child.
And that's absolutely, I mean, very good information. Y'all give us some hearts or some thumbs up or something. Let us know. Y'all wake up on the line. I don't know if like I said, my stuff is freezing up and it's going in and out, but we still are having a great conversation. I want to just kind of add, y'all know this is the living room, so I got to put some word on it. And I commend Kathy and her husband for what they're doing. I mean, it's very impactful, and I was going to touch on that, but you hit it right on the head. The time, and one of the things that we find in society with our kids, even myself, time just won't permit. And a lot of times this is what's going to rear or mold our kids. To me, most importantly, to filter in society and be respectful, know our God, because you have those avenues to teach what you feel is appropriate and right. No matter what political and whatever, environmental, whatever they might say, you have that freedom to instill those values in our children. And And that's what the scripture tells us that we're supposed to do. We're supposed to raise them up in the fear of God, knowing our God, as well as spending time with him. And I think, like you said, in this pandemic, what people are learning, husbands and wife, kids and family, dogs, cat, goldfish, we're learning how to get along with one another, because I don't think like some of us have been this close in a long time, just locked in that manner. So Kathy, we're bringing this to a close. I hope that everybody is getting some valuable information. My notes went to sleep here. Some valuable information that we could apply, or if you don't have any kids, maybe you can glean this for someone else and let them know. And this is always on the replay. Kathy, tell us a little bit about you have your YouTube channel, and which is awesome. I always look at your videos, and you're doing a whole segment on homeschooling and just tips and stuff. Talk about that a little bit and where they can find you, if anybody wants to follow your YouTube page.
On YouTube, you can find me. It's Fee Scott and Family. So I'll comment in a moment with the link. If I can pull it up, I'll put a reply in the comments with the link after this is over. But basically, I post new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and they are homeschool themed, DIY themed, just things you can do in your homeschool, different curriculums that we're using, different games that we're using, different just talking time, encouragement, because that's the biggest thing too. And I just want to say that too before I go any further, is that anyone that is thinking about homeschooling, if you're kind of on the fence, just know that you can do it. Like you can do it. Like you're equipped. God put these children in your possession because you are equipped to do it. And you are your child's first teacher. And I think I mentioned this a little bit ago in a video that I made, that, you don't be so concerned about, oh, I don't know this, I don't know that. Because for the first, say, 3 years before your child even goes to school, you've already taught them so much. Like your child knows how to count. Like I said, I gave an example of my 3-year-old counting. We teach her to count because we walk up our stairs and we count them every time we walk up the stairs in our house.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So now she can count to, 16 or whatever, because we're counting the steps. So don't ever feel like you can't do it, because you can. Right. So also be encouraged for people of color. Whole lot of us out there, so don't feel like homeschooling is just for them. It's for everyone. Right. Every child deserves to have that one-on-one education. Every child deserves to have that time with their parents. So don't feel like because you don't see enough of you represented from homeschoolers that you can't do it, because you can. So like even the YouTube videos and stuff too, because just to put a face, so see that there's a face that look like them that's doing the same thing. So you can either check me out over on my YouTube, it's Fee Scott and Family, or on my Instagram, which I post the same videos on my IGTV, and that's just Fee Scott over on Instagram. So I would love to chat with you guys over there.
And guys, let's do a favor, because I found this out, that if you have not subscribed or done anything, this helps us out, because I'm myself an upcoming influencer. So don't just like the videos, y'all subscribe. Please subscribe, because that helps us out in the long run, so we start getting some coins and some cha-ching. Praise God. So don't just look at the video, oh, that was cute. No, subscribe to the channel. That helps out. And please, 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 if you are not going, support Kathy's page. And you can see, I watch her videos. I actually subscribe to it, and I click that notification bell so I get when she dropping new videos. And it's interesting to see, especially when we were doing these, the whole virtual school, like the handouts, the books. Like she had one that I saw, you were talking about the books that you paid $1 for, I think. Yeah, like $1 for these books, which I got to get this question. This is my last question. Then, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but how, is it really expensive, or is it reasonable, or is it just the person? Speak to that a minute, and then we'll see what happens from there.
it. There are some really expensive homeschool curriculums, and then there are some very affordable ones. And guess what? There's also some free ones. So you can, like I said, if you don't know what to do, Florida Virtual School or some of those virtual schools, you can get a curriculum from there. It's absolutely free. The Dollar Tree, guys, the Dollar Tree has really awesome supplemental kind of curriculum things like worksheets. You can also do, there's a lot of people who do, I don't know, kind of like an unschooling type thing where they, as far as teaching, in meaning they just kind of go about their life. So when they want to do math, they do cooking. So now we're going to put in a quarter cup of this, and they're learning fractions and stuff like that. So it really just depends on the style of teaching that you want to do. But there's, absolutely some really great, and if you are interested in like some Christian-based curriculums, the Good and the Beautiful is really inexpensive. You go to mastersbooks.com. They have some really great inexpensive curriculum there. My Father's Word, those are also some really inexpensive ones you can kind of pick and pull. And that's another thing, pick and pull, mix and match your curriculum, mix and match your styles, mix and match what's going to work for you and your family. But Target, Dollar Spot, Dollar Tree, to grab some stuff. And also I get a lot of stuff from teacherspayteachers.com. Teachers, they sell they'll do curriculum. So if you want to do, like, we're doing like a presidential curriculum. So I grabbed a couple of things to do a presidential thing because the election's coming up. You can grab that and you can do they have free things. They have $3 things. They have $40 things, but that's another one. And it's also supporting teachers.
Cool. Thank you so much, Miss Kathy. We hope y'all have enjoyed this conversation tonight in the living room. You are tuned into the living room where we had candid conversation that's sure to change your life. And I know some things have been said. You've got a doggy bag of information tonight to feast upon. And like I said, if you're not, some of you might not have kids. I know, Rod, I know your kids all out in a way, but you could speak into somebody else and share this information with them, those that have up and coming kids. That's necessary to do those things. And please, again, go and visit Kathy's page and support her. Kathy, give a shout out to your business too, because that's something that I like to do. I like to spotlight businesses and tell what you do. This is the other side or the other dimension of Kathy. She like myself, we do a whole bunch of stuff. So talk about that. What is it that you do?
Homeschool mama and a flight attendant on the weekend. I'm also a Chalk Couture designer. And what Chalk Couture is, it is a simple DIY home decor company where you can create beautiful designs in a matter of minutes. I think I kind of have a little bit behind me. There's a sign there, but you can make, here, I got a teacher sign right here that I made. So stuff like this, beautiful decor. It's chalk paint. It's super easy to use. And again, you can make beautiful designs super quick. So you can decorate, you can use them for educational purposes. You can make gifts, and you can just have like a woosah moment to yourself and just create, because I love to create. So all of that can be found on, if you're on Facebook or Instagram, you can find me at Shop with Fee. And yeah, so that is what I also do.
Well, thanks again, Kathy, so much. I really appreciate you accepting my invitation, come and sharing with us, because a lot of information, I always forget to look at the camera. I'm looking at your face on the screen. I have to train myself to do that. But really appreciate that, and thank you for coming by and hanging out with me at the living room. So, guys, we trust that you all have enjoyed this. I got to get some new headsets. These things always seem to mess me up. But if you want to continue to talk and find out information, please don't forget to visit those things that Kathy shared with us. Again, I want to thank you and your kids for just opening up yourself in your home to share with us those topics about homeschooling. So, guys, we thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to go over and support the many, many, many things that I'm doing. If you have not already subscribed, and like I said again, for myself as well, y'all don't just stop by the page and like the videos, subscribe. I'm looking for my little thing. I can't find my little stuff. But subscribe to the channels, because that helped us out. We're up and coming, and also for information, I'm going to start posting like little tidbits on my past guests. If somebody wants to get in contact with them, you can go to www.andredwayne.com. That's my website, and you'll find information on there. And always Facebook and all the other social media outlets. I am presently trying to direct myself from behind the chair, so pray my strength as I come from behind that chair. But we thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And remember, this is Living Room. We're here every Tuesday. Every Tuesday. I will be here at 8 o'clock and just sharing with those kind of conversations and just helping people navigate through this thing called life into courage. Want to say this: if you have any type of topics that you would like to discuss in the living room, go ahead and send those out to me. Now, I want to say, just because you send them to me don't mean I'm going to discuss them, but we will definitely sort through those and see which ones are the better ones to appeal to the audience. Thanks again, Miss Kathy. Y'all wave bye-bye to everybody. Y'all have a great one. Thank you for tuning in to the living room. God bless you all. Y'all have a great night.
Yo, JJ, let's go. Come on in to the living room. Yeah, we welcome you to the living room. Yeah, come on in to the living room. Your boy Rob on the vocals. Let's go. Come on in to the living. Yeah, come on in. Thought-provoking conversations.